Up. So yeah, they put me with a random dude. Actually, that was the random dude right there. That's the guy I eliminated. I don't even know his name. We played. This is the game we played. We stood right here at these little stack of rocks, and we threw marbles against the wall. Played closest to the wall wins. I probably should have told him that I played basketball for 10 years, but that kind of slipped my mind. Anyway, I killed him. I beat him pretty bad. After winning marbles, 30 of us were left. I'll admit, all of us thought Jimmy was going to do another offer to leave with some prize money like he did before. That's why when he mentioned this...
At this point in the real show, there was an all-out brawl just in the numbers. So instead, we're going to play dodgy.
We all died a little inside. I never played this game before and barely knew what to do. That, of course, didn't stop me, and I made it all the way to the final 16. It was at this point that I looked up, saw the money, and realized this is getting real. Up until then, I had just had the mindset of getting it to the next round, but after this, it was impossible to ignore the possibility looming overhead. But, you know, fate is a dirty thing sometimes. Here's the breakdown. It's not shown in the video, but Jimmy started off having us go one by one to choose a number. I caught on pretty quickly what the good numbers were based on how complicated the symbols were. Problem was there were people way ahead of me in the crowd, and so when he said, all of us go get a number, someone beat me to mine. I panicked and just grabbed the one next to it. The number I would have chosen had I not gotten beaten was 15. The number I ended up with was 7. It was at this point I knew it was over. I think what I'm going to do is give this away to somebody who subscribes in the next 7 days. Might be a cool souvenir. Anyway, once we got to the glass bridge part, a plan was set in place. The lower numbers would keep the higher numbers for winning. We came up with the idea to do one square and then make a bigger number do one before we would go again.
I want somebody past 8 to take the next step.
As you watch the game, you'll notice people cutting to jump a square. Time goes down quick. People start to panic.
Don't look good back there right now.
I'm not moving. One goes down. Then 2. Then 3. Then 4.
Doing this for the girls.
5 is now up and goes and makes it.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, you knew back there, 15. Then it's 6's turn to go.
This is a real life shit. 90 seconds. 1.5 minutes. Come on now. Come on. 6. Jump.
And they make it. With 1 minute left, everyone turns to me. I get a lot of questions asking why did I go ahead. Pressure played a big role, but I also knew it was my turn. The numbers ahead of me had all jumped at least once and survived. I knew that if I could just make 1, 2, I would be okay as well. With 5 and 6 telling me to go, and everyone yelling at me from behind.
Why are they not rushing? If you go, I'll take the next one.
I knew I wasn't getting out of it. You know, I wanted to win $456,000, but I also knew I didn't want to be the reason nobody won and have Mr. Beast's video end badly, so I made a decision. One that cost me the win, but you know, it kept my reputation. I went out a hero, and a friend of mine ended up winning the whole thing. It was an amazing experience, and I'm thrilled to have been a part of this historic moment on YouTube. And if you haven't seen Mr. Beast's video, I implore you to watch it. You know, I'm just a side story in a massive game called Beast Games. Oh, and one final thing, I always knew I was going to donate 10% of my winnings to Team C's. So since I won $2,000 for all my efforts, $200 will be donated to them. The website's linked down below, and if you want to join me in donating, you can. Together, we can save the ocean. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Everybody's watching. All eyes on me.
Was Mr. Beast's Squid Game faked? Was there anyone who cheated? Why didn't I just sprint across the stupid glass instead of just standing there looking like an idiot?
Did someone answer these questions for me?
Hi, my name's Night Fox, and I was a contestant on Squid Game. Basically, what I'm saying is, I know what happened behind the scenes because I was there. I scoured the internet and found some of the most asked questions from popular YouTubers and viewers alike. This video will answer them. Let's get started. There is a news article and various YouTube videos going around stating that Mr. Beast's Squid Game was faked. Let me address these rumors head on. There is no way this game was faked. The money was real, got paid the day the video was released, the contestants were real, some were just switched around to mimic the numbers of the show, and the sets were mostly real. In fact, I can say this news article source is actually just from a contestant over on TikTok who got out first round and didn't think he moved.
I didn't think I moved, and I wanted to see the footage, but obviously it's not in a video, nor could they, show us on set.
But I mean, there's 456 players here. What are they supposed to do? Have everybody pause and reset?
If you burst and you didn't move, there's a phone number in the back. That is 1-800 We Do Not Care.
I mean, sure, a bunch of numbers on a screen, and human error potentially could have someone pressing the wrong number, but that's hardly proof of being fake. Something that the TikToker did actually talk about.
A contestant who took part of the Mr. Beast real-life Squid Game has claimed it's rigged. I never said it was rigged.
And since we are on the subject of red light, green light,
How do they spot everywhere?
above us were 60 motion sensing cameras tied to a big monitor station in the back with a bunch of people watching it. Then on top of that, there were like 60 guards along the wall watching us as well. As soon as anyone saw any movement, their number was tapped.
Well, how did you even get all these outfits? Did you have like a custom costume person make all these?
About 2 weeks before the games, we were all asked to give our clothing and shoe sizes. When we arrived at the locations to pick up our uniforms, we were all given out our numbers in alphabetical order by first name. So, Aaron Avery, totally know that name right,
Where is Avon right next?
was given 001, and Zelda Zebra, I don't know any zeros, okay, anyway, got 456. Of course, then, like I said, some of the numbers were changed around so that 001 could be the old man, and 456 was this guy.
Literally the main character. Go!
There was also some people who couldn't make the games last minute, and so some alternates took their place. Of course, this meant that some of the contestants had to wear uniforms that didn't actually fit them. In fact, one dude was like 6'8", and his pants looked more like capris. He got out in honeycomb, had the umbrella, didn't stand a chance. I will say most of the uniforms were actually disposed of after the games, or maybe they were kept in a space. I don't actually know what you would do with 456 really smelly uniforms, but hey, no judgment here, Mr. Beast. I'm assuming they did it to keep things more under wraps so people wouldn't go blabbing about the game, them being in the games before the video was posted, but some people did manage to sneak out their uniforms. Garbage smelling BO everywhere. It was bad, okay? Like every day we would go, we would change it in the uniforms, we'd wear them all day, and then at the end of the day, we would change out of them, put them in a little bag, thinking they were going to be washed, only to find out the next day that they weren't. And then we did it 4 days in a row. You can imagine how bad everybody was smelling on that 4th day. I mean, it smelled like we all died, which kind of makes sense for the coffins, maybe. I didn't take my number though. Also, do you remember in one of my previous videos when I mentioned the sky in the first round was CGI'd in? Yeah, that's because there was actually a deleted scene from Squid Game that was supposed to be in that helped sell us being outside. This was the shot. I also previously mentioned that this set was actually built at a rodeo arena, but in total, Mr. Beast had 3 different sets. There was the tug of war and glass bridge set. They were shot in the same spot, and crews worked to break down the tug of war set and build up the glass bridge set while we were all doing the dachi and the marble game at the 3rd location. The honeycomb one was also there too. There was about a 45-minute bus ride between the 3 locations, and filming literally took all day, every day.
How long were these people on set for? Did they buy everyone hotel rooms?
I think the longest day we actually spent filming was 15 hours. Yes, that means all of us merch winners and people flown in were given hotel rooms while we played.
And did you get anyone sleeping in those beds? Because they don't look comfortable.
No, we didn't sleep in the bunker room, as most of the beds were actually just plywood with sheets put on top of them. I will say, though, the moment you were eliminated, you were shipped out, and you didn't actually get to see what happened next. So only the top 6 in the final round knew who even won before the video came out. There was also a lot of wait time in between the sets, where all of us contestants and sometimes guards would just come out and hang out with us. I mean, I personally ate lunch with Chandler and Carl and became friends with Chris. He follows me on Twitter now. Hey Chris, how's it going? Speaking of lunch, they did actually provide us food all day, every day, and I actually still have one of my Beast Bucks, where basically you would give this to one of the caterers who was there, and you'd get it in exchange for food. So, hey, anybody want a Beast Buck? The type of food we had Starbucks, we had hibachi, we had Olive Garden, Chick-fil-A, that sort of stuff. And also, while we're on the subject for in-between sets, this is also the point where I saw most of the YouTubers who were there in the games. I think to keep things more in line with the show, though, Mr. Beast wanted to keep everyone participating to be completely random, which is why most of the YouTubers chosen were guards. And I'm just a weird outlier. I was chosen because I bought this shirt, and it was probably done accidentally because they chose me before voting for it. guards. So yeah, every popular YouTuber there was a guard. I mean, there was Albert / Flamingo. Fundy was there. Karios, however you say his name, dude who plays Brawl Stars all the time. He was there. Carl, of course. Ranboo showed up, and a few others that I can't name off the top of my head. A lot of the guards actually didn't take their mask off, so hey, maybe Dream was there. In the honeycomb game, a lot of people were asking about licking the candy or switching lines when they found out which shape they were.
An easy way to cheat in this one is to simply move to another line, because there was never really any perfect lines.
Listen, they had cameras in this room too, and also had guards lined against the wall, specifically watching for those trying to jump lines. They said if they caught anyone doing so, they would be eliminated, and all of us just thought it was better not to risk it. Also, upon completing our cookie, we had to actually show it to someone on a table outside the door to the set to confirm that it was indeed finished. Anyone who dropped their cookie on the way out the door or ate it would be eliminated, even if they completed it successfully inside the set. This also meant that we couldn't fake say it was together by like holding up two broken pieces, or what one person tried to do was put gum on the back of the candy to make it hold in place. Yeah, and as for the licking,
Just suck on it and you're good.
I mean, it was done, but it was nasty. So much spit was involved, and I think they actually tried to discourage it by putting alum on the back of the candy itself. You know alum. It's a substance used for sour candy. It's very bitter, and when you eat it just by itself, it don't taste great. I also got a few questions about the tug-of-war game. First off, there were two all-girl teams, and they went against each other. In fact, most of the matchups, while they were random, they did end up being pretty even. Also, the team that said no girls allowed,
They're just gonna get the strongest. Oh my god, they're doing the no girls allowed. Cancel.
they lost.
Are they actually going up? What did they fall in by? I'm too dumb for this.
No, we were actually only like 4 feet up. You see the bottom of the foam pit? That's where the ground really was. In fact, the team that actually did the CGI work for this video actually made a video of their own, and it's crazy awesome to see how they did everything. I recommend you watching that after this video. Weirdly, not many people wanted to know anything about the marble game, but the glass bridge is a very hot topic. So many people wanted to know what the glass bridge was made out of, what was at the bottom, why didn't I push someone or just run across instead of just standing there?
Look at this, y'all. See how long you waiting? No! Bro! This would be me right here. Look. Bro, you playing a hopscotch, man. Bro, you got enough time to just dip, man. You know what I mean? Just keep on moving.
All right, calm down, Skippy. Believe me, that's exactly what I wanted to do too. We weren't allowed to. Pushing anyone for any reasons was an immediate disqualification. And not just for this game, but like for every game. Safety was always one of their top concerns. It's also why I looked like this when I went down. I mean, it's no secret, I was one of the bigger people left. I'm not even sure I was short enough to fit inside the coffins at the end. But basically, they asked everyone, including me, to put our hands out in front of us after jumping so the metal frame wouldn't hit us on the way down should we fall. Yes, that means the glass bridge was a metal one controlled by hydraulics and could hold up to 2,000 pounds each, which is why the set immediately didn't break when there was like 50 million people on one square. We couldn't just skip across because there was a delay in the hydraulics. So when we jumped on a square, someone off screen actually had to give us the go-ahead before we moved again. That's why you see everybody waiting after we jumped. When we did fall though, we actually did fall into a foam pit, but it was only like 3 feet down. I actually had to squat, or else you would still see half of my body when I fell through. Hey man, I basically just played an awesome stuntman, and I'm available for work if anyone wants to hire me. I'll also mention this because it didn't make in the video. There was actually a VIP room where the Brawl Star execs and big YouTubers like Flamingo were sitting in it with animal masks on. It was cool to see them watching us from the platform and really helped sell the entire atmosphere. A lot of people asked about prizes and how much he ended up giving out total. Alright, here's the breakdown. 456 people got $2,000, which wasn't really even talked about in the video. He did kind of mention that people in one round got it.
But don't worry, because they're all walking away with $2,000 in cash.
In reality, everybody at the Squid Games got the money. I wish I could just play off giving away $912,000. Then 22 people who left before the tug of war game got $4,000 each. Then second place got $10,000, and the grand prize winner got $456,000. That means the grand total of the prize money given out overall was $1,466,000. And yet people are still trying to cancel the guy. Amateurs. Also, I will point out one thing from when I saw Jimmy was how shy he and his crew could be. I mean, one of the first things he said to all 456 of us standing there at the first was how nervous he was to film in front of us all. Meeting them in real life, you probably wouldn't even know if they were famous. Even though unless you looking up YouTube. Now, the only question I have left to answer, was there any cheating? Man, I honestly thought about not even answering. I kind of went back and forth on it. There's a few instances of cheating. There were some that were deliberate, Chris giving out the lighter. Some were just really good strats. Clearly, this dude's played one or two games of musical chair before. But I can actually think of two instances where someone did actually do some cheating. While we were playing the Dachi game during Mr. Beast's Brawl Stars sponsored segment, we were instructed to all throw at the same time only once. One guy, though, kept throwing his twice, essentially doubling his chances to try to flip it over. He was caught, and his Dachis were actually taken away. The second instance, there are literally only 3 people who know about it. Well, and now all of you guys. I'm not going to give out any names, but someone in the top 16 actually borrowed one of the guards' phones and looked up Korean numbers prior to choosing the number best for the Glassbridge game. Don't worry, it wasn't the winner, but one of the other 15, not me, one of the other 14 contestants actually did do it. They were actually going to the bathroom in between filming and saw the number vest being put on the mannequins. So when they returned from the bathroom, they asked the guard to borrow a phone real quick to look up something. The guard, not paying attention, handed over their phone, and then this contestant looked up Korean numbers 1 through 100. I only found this out afterwards when I was at the airport and I saw the guard. Then they were telling me the story. We looked up the browsing history on their phone and saw that, that's what they looked up. So to that person who cheated, I know what you did. You sneaky. Anyway, I'm sure there's a million other questions that come up. Courage actually mentioned making a podcast episode with Mr. Beast about some Squid Game behind the scenes.
I'm going to ask for Mr. Beast to come on our podcast.
However, if you want to see more about my personal experience in the games, and also to answer this question,
How are they this bad at red light, green light?
How does someone get out in green light, red light? I mean, I would have been so careful.
How can you be? So it's a child's game.
just check out this video here. Thanks for watching.
Get input in any game.
Dozens of missile silos were built in the 1950s, and they were made to withstand a nuclear strike. But after being abandoned in the 60s,